Welcome back, True Seeker. This video is dedicated to making a world better where people do not have to be lied to every single day by the media and the authorities. And if all goes to plan, by the time this little girl is of school age, we will have changed the world by then. So here's to it. Is somebody hungry this morning? What do you want? Hold on. Little Missy was hungry 5 minutes ago. While we wait for people to get in here, we're going to feed little Missy. What? Are we not hungry now? No? Really? No? Okay. Well, we'll wait. We'll wait. I'll tell you what'll teach you patience is having a little baby. You got to be extra patient with these ones, especially when you're trying to go to sleep yourself. But yeah, I used to say a long time ago I did not want to bring any children in this world because it is just such a devious place. It doesn't have to be, but the leadership that we have is just out of this world insane. And we're going to get to that with this little story right here. Plane crashes near Buffalo player Dion Dawkins' home on Donnie Darko's 44th birthday. You know, no doubt the narrative here is Donald Trump and Air Force One. And again, this was on Jake Gyllenhaal's 44th birthday. You guys want to guess what year it was that Air Force One was drafted up? We're going to see just how perfect it all is. Of course, it was 1944 that Air Force One was drafted up. And the ritual is undeniable once you know what you're looking at. What happened here? You went from hungry to not hungry? Just want to chill with daddy? All right. What is it, big one? Okay. Okay. So again, we covered a little bit about this last night. This crossed my plate late last night. Did a quick decode and then woke up and said, you know what? You know what I think this is pointing to is Air Force One. Let me do a little more research. So again, Dion Dawkins of the Buffalo Bills reportedly had a plane crash near his house. And again, this happened on Jake Gyllenhaal's birthday, who played Donnie Darko, a film about a plane crashing into Donald's house. And when you think of Donnie or Donald, you're likely going to think of Donald Trump. And again, the story is with Trump that he tried to buy the Buffalo Bills, who Dion Dawkins plays for, but his offer was rejected, which caused him to run for president of the United States. So, again, let's go through all this, plus the new information. We'll recap last night. Again, DD, right? DD, those initials, Donnie Darko, Dion Dawkins. D is the fourth letter. So 4 for the DD initials. Jake Gyllenhaal, 44 years old. And if you're new here, 44 is a very fateful number. There's a reason the first president to die in office died on April 4th. There's a reason MLK was killed on 4/4. There's a reason Malcolm X was killed on 44 date numerology. There's a reason his assassin got 44 years. There's a reason JFK was number 35, killed on I-35, but was also the 44th term president. Remember, Donald Trump was the 44th human being to become U.S. president, despite being number 45, because Grover Cleveland messed up the count with his split term. Oh, that's right. Jake Gyllenhaal's in Nightcrawler, too. If you've never seen the movie Nightcrawler, God, that movie came out when I was early in this research, and I thought it was a perfect example of what I was trying to explain back then. I said, you guys got to see this movie. It's like about contriving the news. It's about doing evil things to make the news happen. Yeah, I forgot he was in that one. Are you getting hungry now? Are we ready for the food? Do we want the food? What's going on here, sweet girl? What is going on? No, it's not ready. Oh, what is it, my love? Hold on. What is it? You don't like talking about Donnie Darko? What's wrong? Oh, mate, what's going on? All right, hold on here. Little. Okay. All right. All right. Let's continue on. Again, Jake Gyllenhaal's 44th birthday. If you've never seen Donnie Darko, very interesting movie. It's been so long. I need to revisit watching it. But again, I was really thinking about where the 44 could be going with this. We touched on it a little bit last night. But again, I just want you to think about who Donald Trump is. Again, a lot of people don't know who Donald Trump is because they're oblivious and they're just tuned into their favorite political network and they think he's sent from God. But no, it's just the opposite. And everything's right there on the surface that everyone should see. For all the Christians out there that support Trump, this guy wants to have sex with his own daughter. Those words have essentially come out of his own mouth. He's the proud pussy grabber. What happened to his ex-wife, by the way, you guys? Go back to July 14th, 2022, exactly 60 weeks into the first Jesuitic Nation year. Again, he said that morning that he planned to run in the upcoming election, which was the 60th. And the next thing you know, his ex-wife is dead exactly 60 weeks into the first Jesuitic Nation year, 45 years after their marriage. By the way, the first ever flight on Air Force One, it wasn't called Air Force One yet, but it was the concept that was created in 44, was in 45. We'll put all this together. But, yeah, just Trump. I mean, this guy's a sicko. And another word for a sicko might as well be a Darko. Donnie Darko. Running on the highest degree of the Church of Satan. Mega. And remember, Obama told us the joke on the Church of Satan's 45th birthday with Trump in attendance at the White House Correspondents' Dinner, April 30th, 2011, that he'd be the next president. Satanic, dark, Darko. Okay. So, again, if you do not know this history about Trump, look into it. It's real history that supposedly he tried to buy the Buffalo Bills and his offer was rejected. And that made him run for president of the United States. And let's also not forget that Donald Trump is where Donald Trump accidentally referred to 9/11 as 7/11 in Buffalo. That was another thing that happened. So, yeah, there's been a few things. And, of course, 9/11, New York, like this incident in New York involving planes. Donald Trump was part of the 9/11 festivities. He was interviewed on September 11th, 2001. And, of course, he brought up his concerns about his insurance firm on the 102nd floor before the building collapsed. And remember, 9/11 was simulated 102 days before the attack with Operation Amalgam Virgo on June 1st, 2001. And you can look into that. Operation Amalgam Virgo. Federal exercise of Al-Qaeda attacking the U.S. 102 days before it happened. Of course, in Gematria, Al-Qaeda equals 102. Like Art of War, like World War. What's going on, sweetie pie? We're having a confusing morning here. It's like this news story. Creating mass confusion. Okay. Published 47 minutes after the hour, just in time for number 47. Again, the story, Buffalo Bills left tackle Dion Dawkins and his family escaped injury on Thursday as a private plane. I mean, just how sensational is that? Escaped injury. They said he was at practice, so he wasn't even at his house. I could understand his family escaped injury. But anyway, private plane went down in his yard in suburban East Aurora, New York, killing the pilot. Are we okay? Are we okay? Officials say the aircraft was on its way to New York from Michigan when it became engulfed in flames and crashed mere feet away from Dawkins' home. No one else was hurt in the crash. So as we talked about, the Bills after this week, if you follow Vegas betting odds, after the Bills upset the Lions, they became ranked as the number one most likely team to win the Super Bowl. And again, I'll remind you, this does not mean that they are going to win the Super Bowl, but they do sync up rituals in sports with the big ceremonial dates. Like obviously for the NFL, it's the concluding date, the day where they all play for the Jesuit Lombardi Trophy. And it's the Jesuits who run all these schemes. But notice, in Gematria, Jake Gyllenhaal equates to 52, and that's not an arbitrary number. One more time, president equals 52, White House equals 52, government 52, authority 52, Pope 52. Again, we're on a 52-week calendar named after the Pope, who just turned 88 when Donnie Darko set in 1988, which again is the same year that Oprah asked Donald Trump if he'd want to be president someday. But yes, this ritual came 52 days before Super Bowl 59. It happened on December 19th, the day leaving 12 days left in the year. The Super Bowl's February 9th, the 40th day of the year. Don't forget how they killed Jacoby Jones at age 40, NFL star from New Orleans who played in the last Super Bowl in New Orleans for the Ravens when they won the Harbaugh Bowl over the 49ers. Remember, that game was on the 34th day of the year. They scored 34 points. Maryland equals 34. John equals 47, also like Maryland. Super Bowl 47 goes to John over Jim. But anyway, and don't forget the last Super Bowl before 9/11 happened was also the Ravens scoring 34 points over the New York Giants before the giant World Trade Centers came down after things that fly supposedly went into them, like ravens. All right, but anyhow, if you're new here, the 4-base ciphers of the English language, I have to bring it up in every video because there's always a new person here who has no idea about any of this. Again, this practice of coding numbers into words comes from Kabbalah. And in English, there's 4-base ciphers, the alphabetic order, the reverse alphabetic order, and both orders with numerology applied. Jake Gyllenhaal's actual name is Jacob Gyllenhaal, which equates to 277, which is the 59th prime number. And for all of you guys who are hopeful for the Bills, because your franchise is so starved, I'll let you know this right now. You better hope the Chiefs lose another game this year because theoretically, if they win out the rest of their games, Andy Reid will stay on 59 losses like he stayed on 58 for Super Bowl 58. That's 59 losses with the Chiefs. And he'll also get his 277th career win if he wins the big game. So keep an eye on that. But anyhow, if it's not them in the AFC, it probably is Buffalo. But anyway, you know how they did OJ dirty 59 days after last year's Super Bowl. RIP. And OJ Simpson equals 113. And aren't the Bills 11-3 right now? The Bills are 11-3 right now, aren't they? At the time of this ritual, OJ Simpson 113. At the time of this mega ritual with another Buffalo Bills player. What's going on, sweetie pie? Are you hungry? You are confusing me this morning. Hold on. We might need a food break. Do we want this? No, we don't. Okay. Okay. So yeah, I mean, isn't it interesting how his Hollywood name, his actual name, how it all just perfectly aligns? 52 days before Super Bowl 59. And again, the 4-base ciphers of the English language, Donnie Darko, the film where Jake Gyllenhaal's the star, where a plane crashes into his house, a film that released at the beginning of the year that ended with 9/11. Donnie Darko with the alphabetic order, again, is... I see what's going on here. We got to get one out, don't we? If you guys hear a loud explosion, it wasn't me. Anyhow, Donnie Darko with the alphabetic order, 110, just like president. Again, like how tall the World Trade Centers were, which came down the same year Donnie Darko came out. And don't forget, they called that the new Pearl Harbor, and the movie Pearl Harbor came out 110 days from 9/11 that year with Ben Affleck. Osama bin Laden equates to 110, as does Cave Dweller. Bush would always call him the Cave Dweller. And remember, Bush got out of Yale Skull and Bones in 68, the same year that World Trade Center construction began, the same year that 911 was made the national emergency dialing code, same year that Muhammad Atta was born and the Quran code was discovered that says the Quran centered on 19, going with the 19 hijackers. What day did this plane incident happen? Right, on the 19th of December. 19's the chaos code. Okay, with the alphabetic order and numerology, Donnie Darko's 56, like plane crash, like Washington, D.C. The 3 planes that hit targets on 9/11, flights 1177 and 175, add up to 263, which is the 56th prime. And if you think that's a coincidence, remember, when we went coast to coast from Seattle to New York, pound and pavement all the way across every major city en route for the anniversary of 9/11 in 2022, YouTube deleted that entire channel with that trip exactly 263 days after 9/11. And it didn't have any strikes on it. They just took down the whole channel, said it violated the terms of service. It's like, oh, okay. Looks a little ritualistic. And don't forget that channel got demonetized on the day that I arrived in New York after driving across the whole country, showing you that they are keeping eyes on and they are performing rituals. And essentially, they got their middle fingers up in a big way. But yes, Donnie Darko with the reverse alphabetic order is 187. And with the reverse alphabetic order in numerology, it's 61. And remember, Washington, D.C. equals 56, 187, 61 in the same ciphers. Society of Jesus equals 56, 187 in the same ciphers. Jesus, of course, has the connection to 61, which is the number that represents God and sacred geometry, where Gematria means geometry and language. Yeah, so anyhow, those are some of the key things in the title of Donnie Darko. And notice that film released on January 19th, 2001, 119. This plane crash on Jake Gyllenhaal, who plays Donnie Darko's birthday, was in East Aurora, which equals 119. Again, the majority of the world writes the date 11th of September, 11/9, like 119. And what's also noteworthy, shout out to Dave, who pointed out, well, we've been talking about how Trump was destined to take office again with the 119th Congress, like how the election was called for him on November 9th in 2016, the anniversary of the fall of the Berlin Wall, as he ran on building a wall, plus Berlin Wall equals 45. But Dave reminded us this morning that 119 is the 88th composite number. 119 is the 88th composite number. Remember, Jake Gyllenhaal's full name, Jacob Benjamin Gyllenhaal, 88, just like Trump's 88. Just like how the Pope just turned 88 2 days before the crash, and that was the day the Electoral College certified the election for Trump. Again, Donnie Darko is set in 1988, and a political election is an important part of the storyline. Again, in 88 is when Oprah Winfrey asked Donald Trump if he'd want to be president someday. We're living out the script, you guys. Again, one more time. Gyllenhaal and plane crash overlap in 3 out of the 4 ciphers. Keep in mind, 97 is the 25th prime number. We're coming up on 2025. 25's a time number. It's a death number. It's a Vatican number. It's a Pope number. The first Super Bowl last year, or last season's Super Bowl, was the first ever on the Vatican's birthday, won with 25 points. You got this story about the Pope opening 5 sacred portals for the first time in 25 years. Just put out a short video on that. The last portal will be opened on the 5th day of 25. One of those portals that's new, that's never been opened before by a pope, is for a prison. And by portals, what they're doing is opening doors. Portals equals 88, like how the Pope just turned 88. And again, Pope and Vatican 25. Again, winning score of the Super Bowl last year, 25 points. But the prison door reminds us of Trump, who just escaped prison per the narrative, and instead ends up in the Oval Office. But yes, Dion Dawkins was the 63rd pick of the draft, okay? And this is crucial because Buffalo equates to 63. And when Air Force One first took on its name, it was in 1962. The plane for Air Force One, that the idea of the plane exclusively for the president for their security, that was drawn up in 1944. And the first flight on that plane was 45. But the term Air Force One was not used until 62, when JFK flew on the plane. Now, again, 62 to 2025 is going to be how many years later? 63. JFK was killed in 63. Oh, there it is. I don't know if that's coming through the mic. Baby's got to do their duty. Woo! We're going to have to do a diaper change here in a minute. But again, 2025 will be 63 years later. Buffalo has that gematria of 63, and this man, Dion Dawkins, was the 63rd pick of the draft. She's all relaxed now. Woo! It's funny how babies get constipation. It's like you'd think, I don't know. It's like, ugh. All better now. She's like, I don't care that my diaper's all dirty. I'm ready to go to bed now. I'm nice and relaxed. Extra warm in there. All right. Anyway. I wish you could take out this cabal as easy as you can take out a dirty diaper. As we talked about, he has also 126 games under his belt. If you run Buffalo in reverse, it equals 126. So 63rd pick of the draft, 126 games under the belt. You include the postseason, it's another 11 games. So that's 137. I'm going to show you what that number has to do with the history of Air Force One. But of course, Washington, D.C. is 137. Government's got the 137 connection. White House has the 137 connection. Of course, 137 is the 33rd prime, which is no slouch of a number. Federal order, secrecy, masonry, they all got the 33 connection. He has 120 starts in the regular season, which is a major Illuminati number. We're going to come back to that as well. But here's how you know that this is definitely about Air Force One. From Donnie Darko, or AKA Donald Trump's birthday, June 14th, to December 19th is 188 days later, the day that this plane went down on Jake Gyllenhaal's birthday, who again played Donnie Darko, DD, like Dion Dawkins. But Air Force One has the Gematria of 188. And it reminds me all this stuff going back and forth about how Iran wants to assassinate Trump. Remember, Iran lost their president earlier this year in a helicopter crash by the numbers. I noticed that from that helicopter crash to this ritual was 214 days later. Remember, that's a big Church of Satan number. The highest degree is mega. It's also a big Republican Party number. It's come up in a few other things we talked about, the 214. It's kind of like Valentine's Day, which is the 45th day of the year as well. But yeah, so anyhow, don't forget either. Bavarian Illuminati equals 188. It's a real thing, established May 1st, 1776. The U.S. dollar bill denominations, the 1, the 2, the 5, the 10, the 20, the 50, the 100, you add them up, they add up to 188. Illuminati symbolism all over the dollar bill. I get tired of people saying, oh, the Illuminati ended a long time ago. I saw that on a History Channel. Listen, what's on the History Channel isn't real news, just like Ancient Aliens. Again, the story of the Illuminati ending is that Adam Weishaupt, who was a Jesuit, who was the founder, became a drunk and a gambler. So the whole order fell apart. Ask yourself if that really makes sense, that story. Does it really make sense since it wasn't just him and it was established with 13 powerful families? So they create this order, and just because one of them becomes a drunk, and imagine we create like the Gematria Illuminati, and one of the 13 people falls off. So what? The whole thing falls off because the History Channel said so? Please. As they pay tribute to the Illuminati every day, as their symbolisms everywhere. So, okay, and now to go through this. The actual Air Force was created the same day the CIA was created, September 18th, 1947. Air Force One, so that's another thing to think about here. Trump expected to take office in 47. This special number to the Masons, again, the 47th problem of Euclid. American football, credited to the Freemason Walter Camp. The first Super Bowl season, the 47th season of the NFL. Don't forget words like president, White House, government authority, Republican, Democrat, DC. They all equate to 47, as does news, as does Vatican, as does time. Again, time's the ultimate authority. 47 is ultimately a number of authority. Trump became seen as an authority on The Apprentice, which is the first degree of Freemasonry, which again studies the 47th problem of Euclid. With regards to time being associated with 47 as well, like the tropics of this earth are 47 degrees apart, we are in the time of Saturnalia, the Roman festival to celebrate Saturn. And this happened on the 93rd day since the anniversary of the Air Force being established. Remember, Saturn equals 93. Congrats to the winners. We've been cooking college basketball in the time of Saturnalia like we do every year, just following the 93s. Teams that can become 9-3 dominate in the time of Saturnalia. Yesterday there were 2 games. They both came in. The day before that there were even more games that came in. It started with Clemson doing the 9-3 ritual the first day of Saturnalia. So again, just Saturn, the keeper of time, this ritual in Saturnalia. And don't forget, Saturn has a Jewish gematria of 511. When Trump ran the first time back in 2015 and through 2016, his campaign lasted 511 days. And the reflection of that number is 115. And he took office with the 115th Congress. And this time around, he wins the election on November 5th, which can be written 11/5 or 5/11. So there's a Saturn piece with that as well. But yes, Air Force One, the term was created in 1962. The plane exclusively to protect the president began in 1944. Again, this ritual on Jake Gyllenhaal's 44th birthday. Again, Donald Trump, the 44th person to be president, despite first being number 45. Air Force One created, but with a different name in 1944, the first flight in 1945. But JFK, again, using the first flight when it was called Air Force One, which again began in 1962, where in Gematria Air Force One equals 62. Again, that was 63 years ago. And now we have this ritual with the 63rd pick of the draft who plays for Buffalo, which equals 63. Again, next year when Trump is in office, it'll be 63 years since JFK's ritual with Air Force One, the same president who was killed in 63. And again, don't forget, you guys, this was the 60th U.S. presidential election. Lincoln was elected in 1860. JFK was elected in 1960. Both of those presidencies ended with assassination. And that's been the tricky thing to figure out with Trump and Biden, because remember, 8 presidents have died in office. 8. The next will be the 9th. Trump became number 45. 45 is the 9th triangular number. Biden became the 45th person to be president. And Biden still hasn't finished his term. We'll see what happens. I think if Biden finishes his term, it's probably Trump who's not finishing his term. And it might very well be a story like this. And think about how there's all these rumors of world war. How many world wars and major wars, just period, have been connected to political assassinations? They've been doing all this foreshadowing for Trump, as we've been talking about since 2015 with all the stories, him being compared to George Wallace, the Trump tombstone in Central Park, the supposed assassination scares that didn't get as much attention the first time around. Of course, July 13th, September 15th, this other crap's been getting all this attention, and it's just been one contrived hoax after the next. And if we ever get a story that Air Force One went down with the president, don't kid yourself. It'll probably be a complete fiction as well. But people won't know the difference because they think whatever's on TV, whatever the news reports, is true. Oh, but coming back reading this thing, it says, while the call sign Air Force One was first used in the 50s, President Kennedy's VC-137 was the first aircraft to be popularly known as Air Force One. So no one had really heard this term Air Force One publicly until 62. But it was a VC-137, right? And Dion Dawkins, literally with 137 combined games under his belt, 126 in the regular season, plus 11 in the postseason. Again, Washington, D.C., government, White House, they all got the 137 connection. The 33rd prime, federal order, secrecy, masonry, and you can add to that list Kennedy. Kennedy equals 33. And you know what? Trump, in a way, has the connection to 33 because the family name, they changed it to Trump. It used to be Drumpf, D-R-U-M-P-F, which is also 33. The Drumpf family when they came over from across the Atlantic. Now, here, just to read a little bit about the Air Force One history. Air Force One is the official air traffic control designated call sign for United States Air Force aircraft carrying the President of the United States. The term is commonly used to denote U.S. Air Force aircraft modified and used to transport the President. And as a metonym, metonym, excuse me, as a metonym for the primary presidential aircraft, VC-25. Oh, 25, huh? Trump 25, what year are we coming up on? Time, death, we'll see. Although it can be used to refer to any Air Force aircraft the president travels on, the idea of designating specific military aircraft to transport the president arose during World War II, when military advisors in the War Department were concerned about the risk of using commercial airlines for presidential travel. In 1944, a C-54 Skymaster was converted for use as the first purpose-built presidential aircraft, dubbed the Sacred Cow and operated by the Army Air Force. It carried President Franklin D. Roosevelt to the Yalta Conference in February of 1945 and was used for another 2 years by President Harry S. Truman. The Air Force One call sign was created in 54. Jesuit Order 54? Hello. The assassination on 54th Street that's got everyone's attention. Luigi Mangione, again, that was at the hotel where Donald Trump was the night of the 2016 election. Again, if you're not up to speed on that, that hotel's 47 stories tall with 47 suites. The assassination was December 4th, 47 days before the inauguration of number 47, if Biden finishes his term. And, oh no. Are we okay? Are we okay? And again, that CEO, Brian Thompson, became CEO on April 7th, 2021. It's a lot of 47. Only for them to arrest Luigi Mangione at a McDonald's in Pennsylvania, near where Trump just served French fries, at the address 407. And Officer Fry is the arresting officer. And people can't see the way this storybook's being contrived and put together. But again, the Air Force One call sign was created in 54. And again, it was a C-54 Skymaster. Isn't it interesting? Again, the Jesuit headquarters is at the Church of the Jesu, Building 54. Trump, one of these Jesuit-educated men, just like Biden, just like a lot of people in D.C., a lot of people in government and in high places. The founders, hundreds of years ago, talking about what could happen to this nation, how it could be subverted if the Jesuits ever came out of suppression. Does it look like the nation's been subverted, you guys? You got to be a special kind of blind to not see it. And it's crazy how this is how they control us, through stories. And obviously they figured this out. I mean, they control people's spiritual mindset through stories. Just give them a story. Just print a book for them. Tell them a big story. They'll eat it all up. They'll believe it. The word with lie right in the middle. But again, the Air Force One call sign was created in 1954. You guys know that's the year that a Jesuit was pretty much in charge of medicine in America and took the United States the path of radiation for cancer treatment. As they say, if the cancer doesn't kill you, the chemo will. And funny enough, in Gematria, cancer, chemo, and kill all equate to 44. Here we are on Jake Gyllenhaal's 44th birthday, and they're signaling something connected to the man who was the 44th man to be president, the real Donnie Darko. So in 1954, after a Lockheed constellation, it's interesting, there's 88 official constellations. Trump 88, Donnie Darko set in 88, right after them. Okay. After a Lockheed constellation carrying President Dwight D. Eisenhower, the one who told us about the military-industrial complex, entered the same airspace as a commercial airline flight using the same flight number. Since the introduction of SAM 26,000 in 62, the primary presidential aircraft has carried distinctive livery design by Raymond Loewy. Other aircraft designated as Air Force One have included another Lockheed constellation, Columbine the Third. We got to look into that, man, because yeah, the Columbine massacre. Columbine is right across the street from Lockheed Martin. And right now, we just had this shooting by the numbers that they're comparing to Columbine, where the shooter had the same T-shirt as Eric Harris. And let's not forget, Dylan Klebold was born on 9/11, and it was reported that they theorized they would hijack aircraft and fly them into New York City skyscrapers. Columbine 3. 3 Boeing 707s introduced in the 1960s and 70s, and the current Boeing VC-25As. It's kind of like A is 1, right? So it's VC-251. 251 is the 54th prime. Remember when LeBron passed Kobe Bryant in points scored with the 54th points of the game on 25/1, dropping Kobe to 4th in points all time, and doing it in Kobe's hometown of Philly, and then Kobe died the next day. Remember that one? I remember doing my video before Kobe died about why LeBron was going to pass Kobe in the 54 ritual on January 25th, and talking about what that number had to do with the death of Daryl Dawkins and Moses Malone in relation to Kobe being Bryant, who equals 54, who died the Sunday before Super Bowl 54. I remember doing that, but I didn't realize that Kobe was going to die the very next day. Oh my God. But the point was how people die for these rituals, or at least reportedly they were told they die. If you guys don't know about Daryl Dawkins and Moses Malone, they died right before Kobe's last season. They were 2 of the first ever players drafted out of high school. They both had connections to Philly, Kobe's hometown. Moses Malone was drafted by Utah. Kobe played his last game against Utah 213 days after Moses Malone died, representing the 213. The area code that won the Super Bowl on 2/13 is Nobody Blinked an Eye. And then Sean McVay comes out with his Ukrainian fiance, representing the Rams, the god of war, as a war starts with Ukraine days later. And then NATO gets together when Aries begins, Aries the ram. Anyway, since 1990, the presidential fleet has consisted of 2 highly customized Boeing 747-200Bs, which are VC-25A aircraft. The United States Air Force has ordered 2 Boeing 747-8s to serve as the next presidential aircraft, designated VC-25Bs, and expected to enter service no earlier than 2026. From time to time, presidents have invited other world leaders to travel with them on Air Force One. Look at this. When was the first time a foreign leader flew with the president on Air Force One? How about in 73? And it was the Soviet Union. What number does Dion Dawkins wear? Is it 73? Yeah. It is 73 52 years before 2025. Because again, Jake Gyllenhaal 52, this thing 52 days before the Super Bowl. President, White House, government, authority, all 52. Like Pope, like the weeks in the year. In 1973, Nixon invited Soviet General Secretary Leonard Brezhnev to fly with him to California. California, by the way, equals 52. Just like Gavin Newsom, another Jesuit scum. With him to California from Washington, D.C. In 83, President Reagan and Queen Elizabeth II toured the U.S. West Coast aboard the aircraft. In 2012, President Barack Obama took British Prime Minister David Cameron to a basketball game in Ohio. Cameron, 33. Who remembers Cameron's very 33 exit from the White House as he was replaced by Theresa May, TM, the second female Prime Minister of the UK. The first was MT, Margaret Thatcher. T's the 20th letter, M's the 13th, put it together, 33. They said David Cameron needed 330 boxes to box up 10 Downing Street. There was a whole lot more to it as well. Brexit, 33. I told you back then, I said, that's not going to happen. It doesn't even matter if they vote on it. This is the New World Order. They're not letting the heart of the New World Order break away from the rest of it. It's all symbolic. You want to escape, but you can't. Not without revolution. That's why it's revolution or bust, you guys. Otherwise, it'll just be this until the end of time. So yeah, again, just a quick recap. First official flight on Air Force One, even though that wasn't the name yet, in 45. Donald Trump, Donnie Darko, number 45, who tried to buy the Buffalo Bills but couldn't buy them, so then he ran for president. This story on Jake Gyllenhaal's 44th birthday, which is the day that he begins his 45th year of life. Somebody out there, every time I say that, somebody's going, are you serious? 44 begins your 45th year of life? Talk about stretching. No, talk about facts. When you're born, what do you begin when you're born? Do you begin, is sweet girl here in her 0th year of life, or is she in her first? So what happens when she turns 1? Does she begin her first year of life again, or does she begin her 2nd year of life? I always have like people who just don't have common sense leaving comments. And that's a problem in this world. A lot of dumb people who don't realize they have 2 ears and 1 mouth. There's a reason. You should listen twice as much as you speak, and you should think more before you speak, because so many people in this society are just blurting out nonsense all the time that's completely idiotic. Isn't it true, little Ruby? Isn't it true? We're going to get it all changed before you grow up. Okay. Yeah, so again, 63rd pick of the draft was Dion Dawkins. 63 years since they started publicly using the name Air Force One. The Air Force, created in 47. This ritual on Jake Gyllenhaal, a.k.a. Donnie Darko's birthday, 188 days after Trump's birthday, when Air Force One is 188. An Illuminati calling card. You guys, let's not forget Donald Trump's face. Here, let's remind about how perfect it is. The Illuminati card game. Trump's on the Enough is Enough card. You can look it up if you don't know this. There's a card game called Illuminati, and Trump's face is on Enough is Enough. Do you see the 78, you guys? Do you see it? Enough is enough. How old is Trump right now? 78. How many tarot cards are there in the deck? 78. What are the top cards? Trump cards. What do tarot cards equal? 119. Like East Aurora. I saw a 168 earlier when I was decoding this, and I forget what it was. Man, what was it? There was a 168, and I forgot it. Jesuit and Scottish Rite, for the record, are both 78. Okay. Okay. Yeah, again, just the East Aurora thing, the release date of Donnie Darko. You know, the release date for Donnie Darko can also be written 19/1, like 191. Society of Jesus is 191. 191 is the 43rd prime. And where did I just have the Gyllenhaal thing? You see how 191, the 43rd prime, Gyllenhaal and plane crash, both 43, just for the record. The movie, again, is about a plane crashing into his house. Not long before 9/11, where they made everybody feel like in a day a plane could crash into their house too, creating the culture of fear. But yeah, East Aurora is where this one crashed. We covered the Gematria Donnie Darko, the significance of this happening 52 days before the Super Bowl. You know what? I'm going to show you a couple other things about the Bills that need to be pointed out. Their coach is Sean McDermott, right? And I can't remember if I need his middle name too. But the coach and the owner of the Bills both have the 201 connection. Sean McDermott is 201, right? If you're new here, this is the number of the Jesuits, the Illuminati. There's a reason Trump's ex-wife died in a major Jesuit ritual, and she was buried on the 201st day of the year, and they had their first child together, Donald Trump Jr., on the 201st day of Trump's age, and they were married in a building that equals 201, and the leader of the ceremony's name equaled 201, and there's a reason Joe Biden sacrificed his wife and daughter back when he became senator-elect in 201 rituals, and then there's a reason Beau Biden died 201 days before the first Jesuit Pope's birthday at age 46, when Joe Biden became number 46, exactly 46 weeks after the Pope's birthday, and Inauguration Day is the 201st day of the nation's age on 20/1. And remember, the same Jesuit priest who did the funeral for Beau Biden at 46 did the inauguration for Joe Biden at 46, and his name's Leo Jeremiah O'Donovan, which equals 201, just like Ignatius of Loyola equals 201, who founded the Jesuit order etc., etc. The Jesuit Order's 201, Order of Illuminati's 201. I can't think of the Bill's owner's name right now. Hold on. We were talking about this back on the streets of Buffalo. Terry Pagula is the owner. Donald Trump wanted to be the owner. Terry Pagula. He must. All right. With Terry Pagula, his name does have a 59 in it. That's where we need his middle name too. He's the one who you got to put the middle name in there. It's Terry Michael Pagula, and he does have the 201 as well. Terry Michael Pagula, 201. Remember when they find the crime scene for O.J. Simpson? It was the day leaving 201 days left in the year. Total psyop for the nation. Polarizing racial event following the Rodney King beating. But again, just, if you're new here, we've been talking about scripted sports, scripted news, the presidency, proving it, calling things out before they happen for a long time. We've called so many sports futures after from understanding this. One of the best and most easily explained is the year that we called in week 3 why the Super Bowl would be, and we had the Patriots in the Super Bowl before that season even began, but we were looking for the NFC team, and week 3 we had it. We said it's Patriots versus Eagles this year, and it was all thanks to Donald Trump. Again, if you look it up, Trump has the same birthday as the flag, June 14th. When Trump took office, the flag was 239 years old. The flag was sewn at 239 Arch Street in Philadelphia. 239 is the 52nd prime. That was the year of Super Bowl 52. Trump took on the protesters of the flag on the 23rd of September and said they should all be fired like he was the apprentice. 23/9's like 239. We said, there it is, you guys. Trump takes on the protesters of the flag, having the same birthday as the flag, taking office while the flag's 239 years old. And remember, Colin Kaepernick started the protest, and he did it on the 239th day of the year. And there's a history with, he was playing for the 49ers at the time, but there's a history with the Bay Area and Philly. Again, like the Warriors and the Athletics started in Philly and moved to the Bay. And there must be something with the Bay in Vegas too, because, the Raiders have now moved to Vegas, who were in the Bay for a while, and the Athletics are moving to Vegas. Sin City. Well, maybe that's it, because Philadelphia is associated with the synagogue of Satan, synagogue of Satan, Sin City. Think more about that one. San Francisco, the Bay Area, is named after Saint Francis of Assisi, who's part of this Catholic church where you got to confess your sins. And let's not forget the Church of Satan was established in San Francisco either, where Anton LaVey, the founder, died in a massive 201 ritual, 201 days from his own birthday and 201 days from the sitting Pope's birthday. Going with Donald Trump running on the highest degree of the Church of Satan and sacrificing his wife in a 201 ritual. What could be more satanic than that? What could be more Donnie Darko than that? But yeah, also this thing about Pope Francis opening 5 sacred portals. And again, the thing that's new about this ritual is him opening a door to a prison. Again, I'm pretty sure this is about Trump as well. Again, they do this every 25 years. They used to do it every 100, but now they do it every 25. Pope and Vatican 25. The square root of 25 is 5. The last portal is going to be open on the 5th day of 2025. Again, 25 is a time number. It's also a big time Trump number, who's bringing the 25% tariffs that he announced on the 25th of November to Canada and Mexico. But again, on the 88th birthday of the Pope, Trump was confirmed by the Electoral College. And we've been talking about this for years. Trump's return and how it could happen while the Pope is 88 years old. Exactly what's going on. Portals is another 88 word. But yeah, this prison door that he's opening, the prison is called Rebibia, which is kind of like Republic or even Republican. 48 and 60 Gematria, just like Donald Trump, like indictment, like Alvin Bragg. And remember the whole thing with Alvin Bragg. Trump had to first appear in that courtroom on April 4th, 4/4, what would have been the 44th birthday of Heath Ledger, who died while playing the Joker. And they told you right before Trump appeared in the courtroom, they had just filmed the latest Joker scene for the part 2 of that movie, which is since released. And don't forget, they released both the Joker movies on the same day, the day leaving 88 days left in the year. And Trump said he's Batman. Trump's Batman, the counterpart to the Joker. Endless jokes in the news. Donald Trump always half-truthing, telling you the news is fake, except for when it's to his benefit. But yeah, again, just so you can see it, Dion Dawkins, 63rd overall pick, Buffalo 63. When we were out on the streets of Buffalo after the mass shooting, educating about news by the numbers and why we had the day of that mass shooting circled for an event just like that, the 74th birthday of Israel, we were talking about the 63 in the ritual. It was synced up with the governor of New York, who's from Buffalo. It was a big 63 ritual synced with her, and also the mayor at the time. If I recall, it was go back and look. I can't remember if the mayor was about to turn 63 or if it was 63 days from his birthday, but 63 was huge in that Buffalo top shooting. And again, the whole white supremacy joke and that on Israel's birthday. Again, what does it say in Revelation? Those who claim to be Jews but are not are the synagogue of Satan. You look at all the evidence out there, it points to the original Hebrews being darker complected people. So who are these lighter skinned people? Are they the white supremacists that stole the identity as they have a white supremacist shooting in a black neighborhood in Buffalo? And again, the power of knowledge, if you guys missed what happened in Buffalo, we had for a minute people yelling at me, telling me that I was the wrong skin color and didn't need to be in that neighborhood. And, by the time they got done listening to what I was sharing with them, they wanted to be best friends. And I had Hebrew Israelites calling me white devil and all this. Next thing you knew, we were best friends. You guys might recall when I was in Buffalo, I was out there for a week. The final 3 days, they took down my phone. I couldn't broadcast anything. I couldn't live stream. But I hung out a lot on the streets with the same people who were mad at me when I first got there and had a lot of good conversations. And again, it was an example of the power of knowledge, how knowledge can bring people together. You go from being called white devil to, hanging out late at night, having great conversations with people on the street. And I still remember who got scared when they came out there. They become a troll of this community. They were acting all scared. They're like, Zach, you got to get out of here. This is dangerous. We can't be out here. They're threatening you. I said, just chill, man. I thought you were from here. I'm not sure he was really from there. He said he was from there, but he got all scared. I wasn't that worried about it because I grew up in a neighborhood just like that one. It reminded me of where I came from. Okay. Yeah, I think I hit all the main points here. For the record, Buffalo Bills does also have Gematria 72, like President Trump, like Jesuit order, like how we got the first Jesuit Pope on the 72nd day of the year. Okay. All right. Yeah, I think we hit all the main points. Let me see if there's anything else breaking right now. It's a Friday. Usually Friday is a slow news day. A U.S. government shutdown. I wish they would just shut it down and keep it shut down. Student charged with plotting mass casualty attack on Israel. Consulate in New York. Oh, I bet. Here, let's read all about it. I'm sure this one's real. Today's the day leaving 11 days left in the year, right? New York, the 11th state. Jew 11, right? Did you guys ever see what happened when we were pounding pavement in New York? It was the weirdest thing. I had the megaphone and I got into a rant and I said, "Where the F is Larry Silverstein at?" And it was weird. It was like magical. Everyone who was there can attest to this. It seemed like it was out of nowhere that just this group of Orthodox Jews appeared. And by the way, the cops had come out and barricaded the entrance to the World Trade Center complex. And you had like, I don't know how many cops were there. There must have been at least 30 of them standing in a line. The fattest one was behind him, who was like the commander. But I got mad when the police came out and blocked us from entering the premises. We had a group of people trying to educate about 9/11, and the police showed up and made sure that we couldn't enter the premises. But yeah, just, I said, where the F is Larry Silverstein at? And it seemed like it was 5 seconds later. Are these people magical? Where do they come from? There's just this group of Orthodox Jews, the ones that got the braids and the black caps. They're wearing white and black. And, they got their, I don't know what you call it, the braided hair thing. But all of a sudden, a group of them, and with the whole barricade of police, they're just standing next to the police. They're like using the police as props. They're taking photos of themselves posing with the police. They got one of the cop car doors open. They're like posing on the car, taking photos with the car. It was like, what in the hell is going on? All of a sudden, this is a Jewish photo shoot? What? I had just mentioned about how, certain people got a call not to show up for work that day. The Saturday crew passed the word along. I don't know if orders came down from Larry. Listen, you guys, we're going to pull it today. You don't want to show up for work today. We're going to pull it if you follow me. But no, it was really weird. It was really weird. And I know people have video of what happened out there somewhere. My channel with all of this was deleted. And maybe that's part of the reason it was deleted too, because of the things we captured. The unbelievable things that we captured. Ooh, George Mason University. Again, modern Freemasonry is based in the Torah, which is Judaism. Again, Freemasonry is based in Kabbalah, which is in the current times a Jewish practice. Again, it goes back to Babylon. It might not have started as a Jewish practice, but it's considered a Jewish practice by and large now. Again, Kabbalah has been adopted into every spirituality, but it's still mostly considered Jewish. George Mason University student charged with plotting mass casualty attack on Israeli consulate in New York. They got it posted at 31 minutes after the hour, the 11th prime. So 9:31. Am I seeing a 9/11 right there? Of course, Star of David equals 119. The hell is this? Who wants to subscribe to CNN? Oh, come on, man. I've already read enough. I'm not subscribing to anything. Here, let's find a different. I actually do want to read about the story, but we'll read about it from somewhere other than CNN then. All right. The Times of Israel broke this 14 hours ago. That still would have been today, their time, because they're hours ahead of us. New York Post looks like they might have broken it yesterday, though. They did. New York Post did break this yesterday on the 19th. Jeez, I mean, look at all these ads. Don't we live in a ridiculous age? An 18-year-old freshman at George Mason University in Virginia was arrested Tuesday, 3 days ago, the 17th. Oh, on Saturnalia, on the Pope's birthday. Okay. Tuesday for allegedly plotting a mass casualty attack. Okay, on the Pope's 88th birthday, just for the record, Jewish is 88, right? Masonic rituals 88. George Washington's 88, who was a Mason. The person plotting the attack described New York as a gold mine of targets, according to a report. Of course, they got to blame a Muslim guy. Abdullah Ezeldin Taha Mohammed Hassan, an Egyptian national, was charged with one count of demonstrating how to manufacture an explosive with intent to murder intentionally protected persons after allegedly instructing an undercover FBI agent in November to target the consulate with explosives, the Washington Post reported Thursday. Two options: lay havoc on them with an assault rifle or detonate a TATP vest in the midst of them, Hassan allegedly told the agent posing as a terrorist sympathizer on November 27th. That's the day leaving 34 days left in the year. Jewish is also 34. So on the 88th birthday of the Pope, on the day leaving 34 days left in the year. Okay. Hassan, who had been facing deportation proceedings, was arrested by the FBI in Falls Church and subsequently banned from campus, according to the report. The first-year college student has an extensive digital paper trail with social media accounts praising the Islamic State and Osama bin Laden and spreading terrorist and anti-Semitic propaganda, the FBI charging documents state. He had been interviewed by the FBI in 2022 over his online ramblings spreading Islamic State messaging across the web, but was not charged, according to the Washington Post. The information technology major was skilled at concealing his online activity and at accessing the door web for things like step-by-step video instructions on how to make a bomb with the greatest kill rate in a crowd, according to the FBI. Hassan allegedly sent the undercover agent an Islamic State propaganda video in mid-November calling for the death of Jewish people, the newspaper reported. The agent then agreed to follow Hassan's order to commit a mass slaughter. All right. Same old. Regularly scheduled programming. Just out of curiosity, I got to run the numbers on the accused. Where'd he go? Abdullah Ezeldin Taha Muhammad Hassan. $133 is a big FBI number because, again, it's the FBI is who the story comes from. Government is 133. Here, I only have one hand to type here. Federal Bureau of Investigation. Same cipher, 133. Probably not an accident. George Mason. Oh, man. George Mason got some interesting numbers, huh? 119. Like Star of David in the same cipher. Kind of like 9/11 when this propaganda automatically, subliminally triggers thoughts of 9/11. Star of David and George Mason. Same forwards and backwards. The reverse cipher, the 178, Kabbalah's got that 178. Again, that's where this whole practice of coding numbers into words comes from. How we doing down here? How we doing down here? Somebody went to bed without getting some food. Okay. All right. Yeah, it looks like propaganda, business as usual. Let's just see what the BBC's got going today. BBC, as usual, focused on U.S. news. Malaysia approves new search for missing flight MH370. Interesting after this news here. You remember how their logo, look at how the Malaysia Airlines, this was in the infancy days of my research when this started, but it stood out to me right away how their logo looked like 33. 239 people, 52nd prime. This ritual with the plane yesterday had a lot to do with 52. Just another one of those made-for-TV mysteries that made no sense. Warning signs for Trump as Republican rebels define. We're seeing some other different types of warning signs for Trump over here. Isn't it interesting, though, when you look at it, it's like, it's interesting how they got those stories all stacked. Don't forget, you guys, Mike Johnson, the 56th Speaker of House in the 56th city. What's Mike Johnson equal? 56. And there's that 133 as well. His name's 133 and 52 like government. Just like Nancy Pelosi's 133 and 52. She was the 52nd Speaker of House, et cetera, et cetera. How's Al Jazeera covering the news today? Israeli air raid on apartment block in Gaza refugee camp kills 8. And all paid for by U.S. taxpayers. Pay your taxes or end up fined and in a prison because these people got to drop more bombs on the heads of more brown people. That's why, that's why you guys, it's things like this that keep me coming back here every day and dedicating my time and energy to exposing this evil. Because honestly, I feel like if you're aware of this evil and you don't fight against it, then you're part of it. Then you're part of it. And again, if there are spiritual consequences in this world, you probably don't want to be a part of it. Let's see what MS. I love how all the advertising on all these things is always baby formula everywhere I go now. Jesuit puppet Elon Musk just rocked Mike Johnson's world. Okay. Hold on. I see a notification I got to check out over here real quick. Okay. A handful of Republicans could stop Trump's crusade. Remember, Trump appointed the 44-year-old guy with the Crusader tattoos on his chest to be the head of the Pentagon on the Superior General's birthday, the leader of the Jesuits. That's Arturo Sosa, born November 12th. So you can see it's all one big Jesuit puppet show. It's not a small cap show. Remember, there were no small caps that were the face of the scandemic, and small hat land got the worst of it with the vaccine mandates. I should have put an end to all the people who say, oh, it's the small caps that run everything. Nope. They didn't give us the calendar or the language. Their architecture is not all over the capital city. We're not saying it's... What's the Jewish year right now? It's approaching 6,000. We're not approaching the year 6,000. We're approaching the year 2025 per the Catholic Church. When Netanyahu comes to town, hardly anybody notices. When the Pope comes to town, everybody gets on their knees. These things should make everything quite apparent. The Lombardi Trophy, the big sports event for America, are they playing for some Jewish guy's trophy or a Jesuit's trophy? Did that guy die unexpectedly at a Jesuit hospital as well the day before the 1970 season? Did Vince Lombardi? All right. Okay. We got some super chatters. Space Invader says, did you notice Carson Wentz replaced Mahomes? Well, I don't think he is going to because they said Mahomes is playing this week. Or are you saying in last week's game because he got hurt? Maybe it happened in last week's game. Interesting, because he was replaced by Foles during the last Trump presidency in a huge 9/11 jersey ritual. Yeah, and I remember to this day because everyone was following my sports pick back then that I put out for free. I didn't even have a Patreon back then, but I told everybody the Super Bowl was going to be the Eagles and the Patriots. And when Wentz got hurt, everyone's like, Zach, you're wrong. They had to put in Nick Foles. And I said, no, you fools. Look at the initials for Nick Foles. N is the 14th letter, and F is the 6th. 14-6, is that not the flag's birthday? The 14th day of the 6th month, is that not Trump's birthday? All ritualism in the National Fix League. King Richard TV says also Bob Dunlap, the guitarist of The Replacements, dead at 73. As we know, sacrifice equals 73 like ritual sacrifice. He died on the anniversary of Chris Farley's death. See, December 18th is always fateful. Somebody dies every year on December 18th. They did Chris Farley real dirty on that day in history. The song he's remembered for equals 73. Yeah, what else is new? Saturnalia equals 73 as well. Saturn's connected to death and judgment. Dead at 73 in the time of Saturnalia. Yeah, good catch. Good catch. Cover bird flu in the movie Songbird. Thank you. They always have the avian flu thing. I mean, anytime my eyes just roll over when they do avian flu again. That's the boy who cried wolf too many times. I mean, the avian flu thing's been going on forever. Forever. It reminds me, the only time I ever got the flu shot was back in the mid-2000s at my workplace. I didn't want to get it, but one of my coworkers, she's like, Zach, just get it. It's supposed to be a really bad flu season with this avian flu stuff. And then I got the shot, and then I was sicker than a dog. The only time I ever got the flu in my life was when I got the flu shot. So there was no more flu shots after that. But yeah, I can look more at it. Not right now, though. Evan says, I bet this is connected to the Colgan air disaster of 2009, which was also in Buffalo. Let's look it up. Good one, Evan. And thank you for becoming a member, James. Appreciate that. And let's check out this Colgan air disaster as pointed out by Evan, who came out and pounded payment with us in Buffalo when we were exposing the very Jesuit 201 ritual of Oklahoma City, April 19th, 1995, the anniversary of Mr. 201 himself, becoming the first superior general of the Jesuits. A scheduled passenger flight from Newark, New Jersey to Buffalo, New York. Don't forget Timothy McVeigh's from Buffalo either. On February 12th. That was the 43rd day of the year. I've covered this in the past. I got an old post on this. Yeah, because plane crash is 43. That's a recurring theme. Hold on. Oh, what? It didn't come up. They have deleted a lot of my old posts on this. I know I have definitely covered this in the past. It's weird it's not coming up. Unless it's on my newer site, but I thought I covered this years ago. It's on this site. Okay. I knew we'd covered this. Okay. Colgan Air Flight 3407's fatal crash, 43rd day of the year. Again, Jake Gyllenhaal, 43, movie about a plane crash. Now on his birthday in Buffalo. Yeah, on the 43rd day of the year, you guys, on the 43rd parallel, but also the 78th meridian west. And now here's this thing with Trump, who's 78. The first Air Force One flight was in February of 45. The date numerology that day was also 43. 2 plus 12 plus 20 plus 09 is 43. So yeah, a lot of 43 business here. Let's see. Wait, what's the part about Clarence Center, you guys, equals 102. Huge number with 9/11. Again, it was simulated 102 days before it happened with Amalgam Virgo. Al-Qaeda equals 102. Again, if you look up Amalgam Virgo, you see that the cover sheet by the federal exercise is Osama bin Laden's face, former CIA asset. Art of War 102, that's the Jesuit text, credited to a mythical character named Sun Tzu when the Jesuit orders logos the sun. Says a total of 50 people died, including the 49 passengers and crew on board when the aircraft was destroyed, and one resident of the house that was struck. So again, a house thing here. So yeah, I think you're right, Evan. There were 4 injuries on the ground, including 2 other people inside the home at the time of the crash. Among the dead were, You know what? I realized something. This would have been on the 56th day of Jake Gyllenhaal's age that this happened. Hold on. Let's remember Donnie Darko's 56, Gyllenhaal's 56. So how weird is that? Plane crash is 56. Donnie Darko 56. The movie about a plane crashing into Gyllenhaal's house. Now this in Buffalo on his 44th birthday. A plane crash 56. Or excuse me. Or no. What is it? Jacob Gyllenhaal? Maybe it's Jacob Gyllenhaal that's 56. I remember he has the 56 connection too. His actual name is Jacob. Hollywood name Jake. Yeah. 56 and 79, like Society of Jesus, 277, the 59th prime, the year of Super Bowl 59. So yeah, Jake Gyllenhaal born in 80. So he would have been 28 at the time in his 29th year of life. They put out their report on the 33rd day of the year in 2010. The captain was a 47-year-old. Go figure. Captain Marvin Renslow. Hey, cutie pie. Just for the record, if anyone's thinking I should have changed her diaper, the odor that happened when the blast came out, it went away. So that told me that it was just gas and she didn't leave any deposits in this thing because you definitely smell it when she does. Somebody's due. I don't want anyone to think it's negligent daddy over here. We're just going to let little girls sleep, go with the flow. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that is noteworthy about this. I'm sure there is, but off the top, I guess we could measure from that date to this one to see if there's anything there with that. It happening on 212 also reminds a bit of the Manhattan area code. The 212 area code is Manhattan, where 9/11 happened in New York, which obviously involved planes. Anytime you hear planes in New York, you're going to think about that. You're also going to think about the TWA flight from the 90s. We're in the 191st month since that happened. Again, Donnie Darko released on the 19th day of the first month, which can be expressed 19/1. There might be something with 827 weeks, but off the top, I mean, that'd be in one of those Jewish Gematria ciphers or something. Here, that means they happened on the same day of the week. Oh, look at that, you guys. 827 is the 144th prime number. I got to remember that. Again, 144. Big time number. Square root of 144 is 12. Here we are in the 12th month, but Jesuit order 144. That's interesting. 827 weeks later on the nose. And just out of curiosity, if 827 is anything relevant, I got to search the database for the ciphers that give us the relevant bigger number values. Global warming, Major League Baseball, probably not that. Robert F. Kennedy's a little bit interesting. Kennedys have had some plane problems. Donald Trump's arch nemesis, Ronald Dion Dawkins, rise from the ashes. Federal Reserve, no. I'm seeing if Saturn's rings is interesting because this latest thing happens in the time of Saturnalia, and they're saying that Saturn's rings are going to disappear this year. Again, we talked about how Saturn's 93, and this happened on the 93rd day since the anniversary of the establishment of the Air Force, seemingly pointing to Air Force One. Faustian bargains, a deal with the devil. I know Trump has one of those at least. Might have a few. Super Mario Bros. Remember, RFK filed his paperwork on the release date of the Super Mario Brothers birthday, and this whole assassination hoax with Luigi's all tied up with all this crap. Trying to see if any of these are a super hard connection. The Saturn's rings one is pretty interesting in light of Saturnalia. And again, if you guys don't know the story, look it up. They said that the rings are going to disappear this year. The 5th of November, election day. Killer down. Killer clown. Is that Donald Trump? He does dress up as a clown. We know what happened to his wife. I wonder if it was him who pushed her down the stairs. I really do wonder that. Motherfucker. Now we've connected it. That's got to be it. Did Daddy just say that word out loud? I'm sorry. We're not supposed to talk like that in the house, are we? Are we? Oh, my goodness. Daddy's got to stop. Sorry, little girl. Is somebody getting hungry? Are we ready for the food yet? No? Still don't want to eat. That's weird. Lockdowns. Zachary K. Greenblatt. Now we've cracked it. Who put that in the database? Are you kidding me? Man, that's funny. The voice of God. Interesting. Ritualistic sacrifice. Now that's interesting as well. Saturn is connected to Saturnalia is connected to ritualistic sacrifice. The Kraken went down last night in a Saturnalia ritual. I know we had that one. Well, there are some interesting things here. I don't know if there's anything to write home about, but again, just for all the people out there that that are skeptics of the knowledge, if you're on Patreon the last couple of days, last few days, all very much winning days. Yesterday was a big time winning day. Just following the little Saturnalia code. We've been killing it with 93 in college basketball in the time of Saturnalia. Last night we liked Belmont to fall to 9-3 and Middle Tennessee to improve to 9-3. Both of those things happen. Same things year in and year out. Base ciphers, most simple cipher. Saturn. Actually, here, let's just put up all the base ciphers because actually a lot of the Saturn numbers were huge yesterday, including the Bulls upset of the Celtics. That was a big payout. Uh-oh, somebody's blasting again. She's overdue here. But, oh, baby. Oh, my goodness. It was kind of funny the way babies just rip them out. It's like, God, that little body producing some big blasts. Think you were a 400-pound NFL lineman. Woo! But yeah, just, both of these games, 93 hitting like a mother. Thunder and Magic, Magic 102, Magic fall down 10-2 at home. Thunder coming in 9-3 away with the Magic numbers. Thunder get their 21st win on the 21-date numerology with all the Saturn business. On the wrong side of this Hornets-Wizards game, unfortunately. Happens. We knew that there was recommended yesterday, take the strong picks. All of our strong picks crushed. If you had a dollar parlay on the Bulls upset with the strong picks, could have easily turned $1 into upwards of $100. That's the kind of knowledge we teach over here. Not to be gambling junkies, to make your budget about $5 a day and try turning $1 to $5 into 50 to $100. Stop wasting your money on bullshit you don't need, like Starbucks coffee and junk food. Instead of wasting money on a $5 coffee, use it on Rig Sports. Right here, we said, both these games, if the Nets upset Toronto, both teams are 6-9, like Saturn 69 in the time of Saturnalia. So that looked good with the value. Boom. Crush. The 113 very rarely misses in the NBA. We call it the 113 League, the National Basketball Association 113. Remember the name of the pandemic, 113. Remember how the pandemic was declared on 113, the day they locked down the NBA, and they blamed it on the Jesuit Frenchman, Rudy Gobert, on the only 113 team in the league, the Utah Jazz. Well, technically there's two. Dallas is the other 113 team. And Dallas did play the day of the lockdown. That was the only game that finished, and they scored 113 points if you want to go back and look. Utah Jazz is the only full team name that equals 113. Dallas, the city, equals 113 when you run the alphabetic order in reverse. My little constipated girl. Get it out. Grizzlies had the numbers to beat the Warriors last night. Got it done. 13th home win. Golden State 41-13 prime. Date numerology on their side. This game was the biggest disappointment yesterday. This was the 93 that failed. This was about one of the only things that we were. I'm surprised the Clippers didn't get the 13th loss and the Mavericks didn't get to 9-3 at home. Sometimes I think there's too much public money on certain games and they flip the script. Because if you watch these games, you'll hear the announcer say it. They're like, "Oh, they flipped the script tonight." I feel like they flipped the script on this one. And then Lakers and Kings right here, like we said, if the 6-9 thing hits in the Raptors-Nets game, it'll be ending as the Lakers-Kings game gets underway. The Lakers have this. It's the same spread, too. Both teams were 4.5-point underdogs, and they both won. Lakers became 6-9 on the road. Kings fell to 6-9 at home. Right here, like I told people yesterday, this was one of the stronger games just because if the Kings won the next two, they'd get the 44th points over the Predators. Predators equals 44. It's a killing number. That 44 plays hard with the Predators, and it's just a logical thing. 44, a killing number. Predators equals 44 in Gematria. Penguins did get the 35 Thursday upset. Blackhawks stayed on 19 losses on the 19th versus the only city in the nation that equals 19. And please don't be the next person to tell me about a smaller town that equals 19. I'm talking about major cities. The only major city in the U.S. that equals 19 is Seattle. Same one where the Cooties 19 began, and not by accident, the land of the world's biggest needle. And this game right here, I told people this game's going to OT. I said this has a very strong narrative to go to OT. You can just pick a game to go to overtime. It's a great payout for a game to go to overtime. Boom, went to overtime. Because either team losing made sense to lose in overtime. You got that with both teams. It usually happens. So, Golden Knights look like one of the strongest plays of the night in hockey. A whole bunch of stuff lining up for them. Boom, win. 21st win on the 21-date numerology. Sharks fallen to 6-9 and won at home versus the Avalanche. Colorado Avalanche, 69 like Saturn, following the Saturn patterns in Saturnalia. Again, just crush. And, got all these trolls because of it. After the fact, Zach. After the fact, Zach. What's after the fact? Got more correct calls on news, sports, elections than anyone who's ever walked this earth. And that's a fact, too. Big Fact Zach. It's the new nickname. So, congrats to the winners. Again, this is the value of investing in our community. Learn how to be smarter about everything. Stop being stupid. Take care of your body. Take care of your mind. Don't waste your money. Learn how to multiply your money. This knowledge applies to the stock market. It applies to crypto. So, Open Up says, had Wembenyana, and again, you guys, Open Up hasn't been around that long, but one of the best students in the community, one of the best members of the community, one of the best contributors in these daily live streams, in the Patreon. And Open Up, I'm going to send you a nice little Christmas present too. I appreciate you helping out the community in the time I've been doing less work, because we've had this little sweetie pie right here. You know, this little sweetie pie is a time consumer. 847's been helping us out, doing some of the work that I would normally do, and doing it out of the goodness of his heart too. But yeah, gonna send you a little bit extra than where you placed in the contest. He had Wembanyama to hit 7 threes, giving him 69 this season. Bam. Wow, talk about a Saturnalia ritual. That must have been a big-ass payout, 7 threes. Yeah, Atlanta equals 69. Who remembers when the Astros picked up their 69th postseason loss, losing the World Series to Atlanta? Atlanta equals 69, and so does World Series. And that was after they took out Hank Aaron by the numbers, RIP. And, of course, we nailed that future in spring training. World Series, 69. Houston goes down. The Astro World tragedy goes down. But yeah, Houston. And who remembers when, you see how World Series is also 57, just like Nationals? Who remembers when Houston picked up their 57th postseason loss, losing to the Nationals in the World Series? And we had a huge payout on that one, too. We had the Nationals to beat the Astros in Game 7. This year, the Dodgers got their 57th all-time win in the World Series because they've been there that many times. That's why we were all over the Dodgers to win it. We had Dodgers versus Yankees mid-season, doubled down on it when the postseason came around because the Yankees had the best run differential in the league, plus 147. The World Series began 147 days after Dave Roberts' birthday. We knew the Dodgers could get the 57th win in the World Series. Again, you got all these people out here doubting the work as we prove it year after year for going on over 11 years now. It's like, I mean, what more is there to prove? How haven't these people seen enough evidence yet? Guys are all tuning into the wrong channels, listening to the wrong people. You're over here. You're light years ahead of the curve. You're not a chump getting played by the cabal, you know. He goes on. He also scored 42 in this game. It was his 93rd career game. Yeah, Spurs and Saturn is 93 and 42. Yeah, hey, great research on that. I wish I would have looked at Wembanyama's. What a Saturnalia ritual. Yeah, you see the overlap with Saturn and Spurs? It's got triple overlap. Saturn's 93, 21, 42. Oh, God, I'm actually... No, Spurs has a 40. Well, hold on. I know it's at least a triple overlap. Yeah, triple overlap. 93, 21, 42. Saturn's got 93, 21, 42. Oops. So yeah, that's why he took that prop bet. That's a crazy prop bet to take. Like, whoa, 7 threes. That doesn't happen that much. Well done. Well done. And that's why I always say Open Up's one of the best students in the community. And yeah, very lucrative day for everyone in the community. And, you know, I was on a little bit of a cool streak for about the last 2 weeks. A lot of people unsubscribed right before Saturnalia began. Like I always tell you guys, cold streaks will happen. And it's not that I'm switching things up. It's that, you know, sometimes I think the cabal's flipping the script, but you just ride with the knowledge. You stay consistent. Could have easily turned, if you're staying to $5 a day, you might have lost $50 in the last 2 weeks. But hey, you would have won it all back easily in the last 3 days. Easily, all back and way more. Could have hit some nice parlays and turned 5 into a few hundred last night. So yeah, all you guys who hopped off the train, again, if you guys ever sign up for my Patreon and unsubscribe, you made a major mistake. I've been teaching you guys for years about college basketball in 93 and Saturnalia and how it's one of the best money-making periods. A lot of you guys hopped off the train right before Saturnalia came. You guys have missed out big time. Stupid. Can't fix stupid. And again, for all of you guys who complain when I get in a cold streak, why aren't you using your mind and doing the research like I told you? I always tell you guys to use your own brain, use your knowledge, dig deeper. I give you guys a ton of information each day. It's easy for you guys to look at that. You know, that saves you hours a day of decoding. And then you can use your own brain like Open Up does and go, oh, hold on. I want to look a little bit more into this Spurs team with the Saturn connections. And look what he found with old star player Wembanyama. So plus 2,000. That means if you bet 5, you turned it into 100 just on a 7-3 performance game. So, CBD. What do you think about Biden and Harris rushing to the White House yesterday night? Might this be the day of Harris number 47? I didn't know that happened. I didn't know that happened. Hold on. Let's look it up. I see more student loan, debt forgiveness. I didn't hear about this story about them going to the White House late. Did you get this from the mainstream, or is this like White House right here? White House in crisis. Biden and Harris cancel Christmas trips and rush back amid speculations of emergency. All right. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris abruptly canceled their holiday plans on Friday. So it's 5 days as we get ready to open the 5 portals, fueling speculation about an ongoing emergency at the White House. As per various reports, neither has issued a public statement, leaving the nation guessing about the sudden changes. Biden, who was expected to spend Christmas in Delaware, reportedly returned to Washington, D.C., taking his motorcade directly from the airport to the White House late in the evening. Similarly, Harris canceled her planned flight to California and stayed in the Capitol. Well, I don't know. We talked about, I mean, are they really not going to fulfill the prophecy of Gerald Ford, who said an old man will not finish his term and we will get a young lady vice president as the first female president? Because again, Gerald Ford delivered those remarks October 18th, 1989 in the Herbert Hoover Library, and Kamala was born the exact same day that Herbert Hoover died on October 20th, 64. Yeah, we're going to have to take an L on that one if it doesn't happen, because I've been adamant that they got to do it, but the window is closing. The window is closing. So I don't know. Maybe it's getting close. Maybe it's getting close. Maybe it is going to happen. I didn't know about this, but I appreciate the heads up. Let's think real quick. November 20th is Biden's birthday. So this happened a month after his 82nd birthday, which is 30 days later. Saturn has a 30-year return. This happens in the time of Saturnalia. And Kamala's got the October 20th birthday. So it's interesting. It's 61 days after her birthday. And of course, Washington, D.C. is 61. That's special number. Christmas and Christian is also 61. We know what they just did with the 61s in the Christian school shooting at the start of the week in Madison. The shooter's name's 61, like active shooter. She's wearing the KMFDM shirt. It was 61 days after their opening concert for their U.S. tour that was in Wisconsin. So 61's all over the place. So, okay, Christmas canceled for the president and vice president in terms of their plans 61 days after Kamala's birthday. January 6th, 6/1, a tribute to 1861 when the Civil War began. That thing was synced with Kamala. Remember, that was 78 days after her birthday. Biden took office at 78. Trump's 78 now. Insurrection equals 78, as does insurrectionist. I'll have to think more about it. But yeah, the 61 days after Kamala's birthday is jumping out a little bit. Okay. $4.80 lead don't follow. I hit 23 cents to $2.19, $1 to 100, and $1 to 3.30. See what you're missing out on by not supporting my work? Congrats to you, 4.80 lead don't follow. Boom. What's 23 cents into 2.19? We'll just say it was 20 cents. Times 5 would be $1. So that's over times 1,000. Well done. Well done. That'd be one of the better. We've had some guys who've turned $1 into over 1,000 or 5 into over 5,000 this football season. I know my troll put out a video that you would have had to have bet $1,000 just to make 80 this NFL season, just a totally blatant lie, which is all he ever does. And I noticed he did another video that he put out, but didn't respond to what I put out the other night, which just shows you what a loser he is. Just going to go on trolling and only focusing on negative. He focused on the thing we missed on another winning day. It's like, well, shouldn't somewhere in the video you should say, but Zach had another winning day, even though I'm picking on the thing he got wrong. He doesn't ever do that because he's a loser. He's a loser. Hey, by the way, loser, since you're out there screen recording right now because you don't have a life and all you do is watch my channel and try to make me look bad, here, I dropped the link for you. Everyone wants to hear the great Twavith. Hey, Twavith, come on here. Take a break from the screen recording. We all want to hear your voice, Twavith. You'll know it's on when it sounds just like that. Well done, 480 Lead Don't Follow. Imagine if 480 Lead Don't Follow had listened to Travis, that this is all a scam and you can't win money off the knowledge. You know, imagine if Open Up listened to that. You know, imagine if all the people who've won a ton of money over the years and changed their life listen to that. It's annoying when people who are cons try to call somebody who isn't the con a con. Very annoying. I've been putting up with that for the whole time I've been here. Sarah Sutherland again with the big generosity said, we are truly blessed to have you and the knowledge you give. Always grateful, Zach. Very, very appreciative again, Sarah. Thank you to you and your family. Gematria Sense. Decker's Outdoor Corporation, 142 spikes up today, span of 142 days from the new CEO taking position. Just another example. We've demonstrated these rituals with the CEOs. Again, you just see the mega corporations. They're just all in it. The new CEO, whose name sounds like he's a mafioso, Stefano Carotti, going with the date numerology. Check your text there in... Check your text there is screenshots. Oh. You might have texted the 509 number. Let me see. Is this you? Yeah. For anyone who thinks he's capping, yeah, that's what the trolls will always do. They'll say, oh, I bet he's just capping. I bet that's not even true. I bet he just made that up. Hold on. Yeah, he sent all the screenshots here. Problem is I'm having trouble with one hand getting it. Why will it not save the photo? There we go. Save to images. Here. Let's just go over this recent man's successes using the knowledge. Save images. You sent 4 different slips, huh? All right. Let's share with the community how this student did, turning small bills into big bills. Exactly what I've educated people to do for a long, long time. And I've told people, I mean, once upon a time, you could bet the house on this knowledge. You can't bet the house on this knowledge anymore because the game has changed. How did I just save 4 screenshots and there's more than 4? Sorry, sweetie pie. Here. I don't know why. I don't know how I can save 4 screenshots and there's way more. What is going on? And why can I not upload them to what I normally do? You know what? I'll just post them. This is taking too long. I'll post them on my Twitter letter. He did send me all of his winnings. Let me see if I can just get one of them up here. This is driving me nuts. Spend all that time and then I can't get any of them to go up. Here we got our King Rich was in the back room. If you want to come back on, King Richard, I'll pull you back up. Here. He sent them all. For now, I can get one up there. Just to show you how we do it in this community. Small sums of money into some nice change that pays the grocery bills. So here was $1 into 100. He sent the one that was 23 cents. I just saw it. Where did it go? Here's $1 into 330. He's like, why'd you upload that one? That was the worst one. Here's 23 cents into over 200. All right, here, I got it. He has one more too, but here, we'll go over 3 of the 4 he sent. The power of the knowledge. Learning how to see through the rig game. So 23 cents right here, 220. Right here, $1 into 330. I don't have the, or hold on, if I click on it, does it give me the full slip? Right here, $1 into 100. Boom, boom. He did it all with Thursday night football, and he really liked something in that Wizards Hornets game. So, well done, well done. And last night, just a lesson I've taught a million times about the NFL. You remember how in Super Bowl 53, 16 points were scored? 53 is the 16th prime number. Last night, Harbaugh got his 53rd win in the first game of Week 16. And when you spell out 16 as a word, it equals 96. Both teams became 9-6.
Hey, how's it going?
Rich, you there? Oh, hold on.
Yeah, I'm here.
Hold on. I got to switch the audio around, actually. Or no, I think we're good. No, we're good. Go ahead.
All right. Yeah, I just had an input on the decode that I gave you about the replacements guitarist. Because there's obviously more to it. I just couldn't, obviously with the characters in the super chat, you can't type as much because there's a lot of information. I did a decode on it. I broke it down. But Bob Dunlap, right? His name, he goes by Slim. He died a span of 127 days after his birthday, and he died in Minneapolis, which equals 127. And they said he reportedly passed away at 12:48 p.m. Illuminati equals 48, and Bavarian Illuminati does equal 127. So does a Scottish Rite of Freemasonry. But he did die during the time of Saturnalia, and I forgot to add in there that Saturnalia does equal 73, like sacrifice, like ritual sacrifice. But the thing that I was missing was that the album they put out, "Don't Tell a Soul," the guitarist that was replaced by him was a guy named Bob Stinson, who was born on the same day Pope Francis was born, December 17th. Um, Bob Stinson's born December 17th, 1969. He's born the same day as Pope Francis. What's interesting, he died when Pope Francis was 59 years old. Pope Francis equals 59. He died in 95. But what's interesting is that album, that was their 6th studio album. That's what the man who died at 73, Slim, is remembered for. Don't Tell a Soul. That's their 6th studio album, and that album came out on February 1st, 1989, like 2-1. And again, 21's a 6 triangular number. The word Jesuit and Saturn equal 21. And I forgot to mention that 73 is the 21st prime number. And again, he died at age 73. And again, Saturn has that 93 and 21. And again, these men, they both died in Minneapolis, right? Which is a city on the 93rd Meridian West. And it's also interesting is Bob Stinson, he died a span of 303 days before his upcoming birthday. He died February 18th, or no. Yeah, he died February 18th, and his birthday would have been December 17th. Span of 303 days. Minneapolis, Minnesota equals 93 and 303. So.
Yeah, great decode. Yeah, well done.
I appreciate it, man. Yeah, I figured I'd add that in there because there's always more to it. And obviously, when I send a super chat of $5, I can only add 150 characters, and obviously it would have went over. So, but I appreciate it. I'm gonna continue, super chatting. I know you've told me before in the past, you know, very generous. I don't need to donate, but I'm going to continue to donate, man. I appreciate it, and I'd rather donate my $5 to something worth it, man. You
But
know?
you donate $5 almost every day now, so make sure you're
Yeah.
saving your money too.
Oh yeah, don't worry, brother. I got enough money saved up. So.
All right. All right. Well, I'm glad you're doing well then, Rich.
I
Appreciate it, man.
appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Yeah. You have a good day.
You too.
All right. I noticed the troll coward, and we all know he's out there screen recording and watching him right now. I notice he's not going to come on. Come on. Come on and talk about how the knowledge is fraudulent when this kind of stuff happens daily in our community right here. What the troll would do is he'd go, well, you didn't even like the Hornets Wizard game yesterday. It's like, yeah, I didn't, but pretty much everything I like came in too. And again, like I always say, tell people, you learn the knowledge from me, but you can use your own brain and you can improve on it. You might know something more about these teams, these players, these coaches. They might be in your neck of the woods. You might have a piece of information I don't. Sometimes you're missing the winning clue. But if you're closer to that city, you might know something about that team, that city that somebody else doesn't know. Some historical player, something that's very relevant. Again, it's about having enough pieces of the puzzle to solve the puzzle. And that's the problem with a lot of other decoders in the community. They can run the numbers in the calculator and put numbers together, but they don't have enough pieces of the puzzle because they don't know really anything about history. You know, like I'm going to pick on Derek for a minute. Like Derek's good at putting numbers together. And Derek spent a lot of time learning about the moon and its cycles, which is interesting. But Derek's admittedly his whole life played video games and watched sports. So he doesn't really know anything about anything. And that's why he's almost always in every single decode missing what the ritual is actually about. It's very rare that Derek ever connects what the ritual was about. And it's amazing sometimes how he misses. Like, how did you not know that? Like, you talked about all this stuff and you didn't get this in there? So, yeah, again, but that's the thing. Having knowledge, it's not just about numbers. It's about knowing history to see the ritual, to see what they're paying tribute to. Again, like I know Derek did a decode on the plane. I haven't watched it, but I'm sure if I watch Derek's decode, there'll probably be something in there that's noteworthy and important. I bet he caught something that I didn't have that is important, but there'll probably be 20 things in there that are just like, what's this have to do with anything? And I guarantee you he missed the whole point of the ritual. So, all right. If we don't have anybody else who wants to hop on and contribute, if your name's not Twavith and you don't have a horrible speech impediment, you're also welcome to come on. But if anybody else has anything to add to the decode, the floor is yours. If not, I'll get back on the grind for everything else that needs to get done out here today. Thank you again, Sarah. You didn't have to do that. I appreciate that, though, Sarah. Thank you. All right. I don't see anybody else hopping on, so I think we will leave it there for now. If you want to come on and tell me what Donald Trump's Mercury birthday is that in Mercury years? I don't know what a Mercury birthday is, but Thursday. Thursday's at Jupiter. For the record, this happening on a Thursday. Again, Jupiter's the 45 planet, like Buffalo Bills is 45. And Jupiter's also 36, like Buffalo and Bills both equal 36, just for the record. But yeah, Wednesday's the Mercury day of the week. So you can tell me what you mean by a Mercury year or a Mercury birthday. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's right. Mercury has an 88-day cycle. That's right. So I'm trying to think why that would be Trump's Mercury birthday. Again, it was 188 days after Trump's birthday, like Air Force One is 188. We talked about how, again, this happened on Jake Gyllenhaal's 44th birthday, who's Donnie Darko, and Dion Dawkins with the same DD44 initials. Again, how Air Force One was first designed to protect the president in 44. Oh, okay. So if you multiply Mercury's orbital cycle times 326, Trump would have been 326 years old on Mercury. Okay, that's interesting. Mercury, the trickster. Okay. I'm seeing what you're saying. That's true. Trump is a Gemini, and Mercury is related to Mercury. Or yeah, Gemini and Mercury are connected. We got Moxie in here. Moxie, who thinks all of this stuff's a coincidence. When Moxie first heard me talking about this, she thought it was some form of schizophrenia. But since Moxie's learned it was a Nazi scientist who started to make those associations. And a lot of people are under Nazi mind control. That's why they went along with the Nazi Reichstag fire in the U.S. of September 11, 2001, which I think Moxie's still fallen for. Moxie, do you want to come on and let us know if you're evolving as a human being? I'm seeing your comment. I'm thinking maybe Moxie's coming around. It's about a month since she made her remarks about schizophrenia. Moxie, are you starting to get it? Is Moxie starting to get it? Or does Moxie think it's all a coincidence? Like the mental midget over on the channel she hangs out on. Dion Dawkins, Donnie Darko, Jake Gyllenhaal's 44th birthday. You know what I mean? Air Force One, thought up in the year 44. You think it's predictive programming for the real Donnie Darko, Donald Trump? Donald Trump, who didn't get it by the Buffalo Bills, so he decided to run for president. All this stuff right after the Pope's 88th birthday. You know what I mean? Donnie Darko set in the year 88, the year Oprah asked Trump if he'd want to be president. What are they telling us? What are they telling us? Moxie, let's see if Moxie wants to come on real quick and see if she just thinks it's all a coincidence and mental illness like she thought a month ago, or if she's starting to get it. Moxie, see, the thing I find funny about that guy's channel where you found my work is, I mean, all you guys do over there is sit over there and race bait. Like 90% of that channel is just all about race baiting and starting fights among races. I mean, what could be more elementary and lame and non-productive and agenda-oriented? It's like, that's exactly what the cabal wants. Is somebody getting hungry? Is somebody getting hungry? Gotta drink this. We gotta drink this. Been out too long. Sweet girl. Okay. Well, she doesn't want to come on and talk about it. I never heard of a Mercury birthday either, but I see what they're doing. What's wrong, sweetie pie? Well, here's a point I want to make about what Gematria 32 said. So Moxie comes over from a channel where again, all they do is essentially breed ignorance and hate and racism. It's like a real life Clayton Bigsby. It's led by a black guy who hates other black people. Somehow, some way, he's found other black people come on the panel who also hate black people. And then you got some other just like weird people on there. You got like this conspiracy theorist guy who wears his sunglasses every day, but he's also a racist. And it's just like watching a gathering of losers, really. And then they're also a gathering of losers who mock work like mine, which is, cutting edge, proving exactly what's going on in the world, calling the future before it happens, doing things that have never been done, helping people elevate their life and make more money than they've ever had before. And somehow that channel's somehow it has like no subs and hardly anyone watching, but somehow is better funded than mine, which also doesn't make sense. It's a testament to what's wrong with the world. But again, the leader of that channel is actually very similar to me. We're about the same age. We both used to work in group homes. We both used to work in public schools. He routinely brings up how his greatest moment as a teacher, and keep in mind he's a black man, he says his greatest moment as a teacher was when he told his classroom full of black students that they were a bunch of monkeys. That's it. That's his highlight of being a teacher. He called his students a bunch of monkeys. He brings that up all the time, like he's really proud of it. And again, I said, well, you're so proud of that. I said, I used to be a teacher as well. And I said, when I first started teaching in public school, I started, not even at the beginning of the year, I took over a teacher who was quitting about a month into the start of the year. And again, the classroom was chaos. I got to help out Sweet Girl here. She's getting active. I'll be out there in just a minute, sweet love. But again, the point I made is I taught a classroom of fifth graders who needed some good leadership, the value of doing things, even if you don't want to do them, so that you can improve your life position. And I did that by showing them a human timeline from what age they were to where they could be by the time they're age 20 if they applied themselves. And I did that by giving them the real world example that they can continue to not care about school and move through school and graduate and eventually get a job at a Walmart or a McDonald's and make minimum wage, or they can apply themselves for the next 8 years of their life and they can get a job like at Boeing. And the reason I use Boeing is because their school was right next to Boeing. And I showed them what the difference is in income when you work at Boeing versus when you work at McDonald's, and what that looks like over the course of a week, a month, a year, a lifetime. And they were all blown away. And I said, person one is the person who doesn't care and is fine working at McDonald's. And person two is the one who's going to apply themselves for the next 8 years and get the job at Boeing and be better off for it. And that year I got them to buy into the terminology of person one, who was lazy, and person two, who, even though they weren't crazy about school, wanted to apply themselves for a better future. And that was the terminology. People just constantly saying, I'm going to be person two. I'm going to figure out how to do this. I'm going to figure out how to solve this problem I didn't think I could solve. I'm going to be person two. And so again, you got CT, the guy who's proud to call the students monkeys, versus, and that's what I mean. And then CT has the audacity to say that the people following me are like, their brains haven't developed yet. I mean, I'm sorry. If you're watching CT, you're a loser. And I'm talking to you too, Moxie. You're a loser. In 2024, to not know what I've been putting out, again, it might sound arrogant, but I've been here every day for over 11 years. And there was times when this channel was getting huge views back before the algorithm destroyed us. Anyone looking for any questions about any of the BS that's presented to us that should have been questioned every single day by every single American would have found my channel if they weren't losers. And that's just a fact. So here, I'm going to bring Real Talk on to talk and filibuster for a minute because he does speak well. And I'm going to go pass Sweet Baby on to Sweet Lady. Real Talk, I'll be right back in just a minute.
Yeah, so I don't want to make this a dunk on chaotic truth, every time I come up, but I was actually on the panel when Chaotic was breaking that down, how he, berated the black kids. And these kids were like in maybe late middle school, 8th grade to like early high school. And they were like, oh, well, he pretty much said I intended on making them mad to prove me wrong. And then the kids actually said, oh, I'm going to pull up in a BMW, or I'm going to pull up in like this car, that car. And Zach was pretty much just trying to present a more constructive way, to deal with younger people who aren't as experienced in life and, who kind of need some light at the end of that tunnel. And that's what I had brought up. Zach didn't say constructive criticism, but then I said, you know, CT, why can't you just offer the kids some constructive criticism? Shut me down. Didn't want to talk about it. Couldn't accept that Zach and I, and then there's one other person on the panel who was, you know, trying to say constructive criticism goes a much further way. There was a great documentary called Stalin's Secret Police, and it talked about how they would round people up in the millions, drag them down to the cellars, and execute them during, you know, Stalin's reign. And the one person who was a prisoner of these guys, or who was taken but never executed, he was trying to explain to them, if you like beat the living shit out of me, I'm much less likely to tell you the truth. And that's kind of how it is with these children. If you beat down on them, they're much less likely to be receptive to your message. And if you're not constructive with the message can actually push them into a lifestyle of getting that car, living a particular life by any means necessary, existentially getting to the money, no matter what, you know, vice it might take or whatever. So that's what Zach was trying to break down. I was trying to, you know, aid the point, and of course shuts it down. And that's all he does with anything that is actually building, that's in the natural order of things. He shuts it down, because if it's not chaotic, he doesn't want anything to do with it. And then I'm going to add this. Historically, I've seen him on panels. He would show up in channels that were just discussion channels talking about anything. It could be politics, it could be cars, it could be anything. He would show up and try to push it to a political lens when it wasn't. They weren't even talking anything political. The topic of conversation that particular virtual campfire night wasn't anything political, but he would try to drive it political. Then he shows up on a white person stream who doesn't, he's not a racist person, but he just doesn't, I don't know, like he talks certain things that I guess black people aren't attracted to, and he would show up and try to race bait the white guy. And I'm just like, man, every time I see this chaotic guy, he's just trying to stir up shit. And I actually gave him his flowers and said, you know, chaotic, you're good at pissing people off and getting under people's skin. And like pretty much he can play dumb and he can play pseudo stupid. He acts like he's dumb, but he really isn't. He knows what he's doing. So I will give him his flowers when it comes to being chaotic and just pissing people off. And the Jerry Springer, what you called it, the Black Jerry Springer show, is on point. You know, I really wish people would pull their heads out of their asses and get away from that energy, because it's a destructive energy. There's no building or productivity. And I had said this maybe a year ago. If you don't have the source, you'll never have the solution. Gematria is a source. There's other knowledge out there that's sourceful. And I'm talking about primary, secondary, and tertiary sources. So for instance, he will actually have black people who don't like other black people on the panel to back up certain points of backdated history. For instance, everyone was black. Jesus was black. The Norse Vikings were black. And it's like, wait a second, man. All of this is inaccurate historically. And I would bring up actual codex from the Temple of Warriors down in Chichen Itza that show Viking, Norse being going through capital punishment, having their arms bound behind them, and being executed by black, indigenous looking, you know, chiefs or someone in a tribe. And you see this down at the Temple of Warriors in Chichen Itza in Mexico, where that huge pyramid is, and that was actually built before the pyramids in Egypt. So essentially, I was bringing up primary documents from Aboriginal indigenous blacks proving that the Norse were white. And the black people on his panel were fighting me. I'm like, I'm looking at the actual template that's been pictured and put in several books down from that temple. Like, this is a primary document. I have the source, and I'm telling you, the information that you have that the Norse are black, he'll have like fanatic blacks that actually do hate whites, blacks blacks are so fanatic that like if a black person doesn't fall within a certain purview, he's not black. It's just like, man, the division over there and the mental aptitude is for Jerry Springer, us versus them. It's so narcissistic. It's so black and white. It's so absolute. Anything that's abstract cannot exist in that realm. It gets squashed like a fucking bug. Anytime you've said something, anytime I've said something, get in the back room, mutant. They treat us like absolute garbage, man. Anyone on the abstract time is like, you're I just got to keep it there. It's so funny to me to even take that place serious.
Oh, the thing I find crazy is just how small the channel is, but how it does. I mean, what do? They do like 10-hour streams a day, and the same group of people are pretty much sitting on the panel all day fighting over the same things each day. And it's making pretty damn good money each day. I'm pretty sure if you kept a running tally of his stream, the average stream probably makes between 500 and 1,000. I've seen when they had their vote off between me and Cuts, he made about $1,000 in 10 minutes. So no, I mean, even if it's only $500 in a 10-hour stream, that's still $50 an hour. That's not bad. It's like, who is really funding this? Most of the super chats are coming from a guy named Bob, whoever that is. He's constantly funding money. He's given like $20 every 30 minutes. But it's like, what is this about? Why is there funding for things like, it's not just that channel. There's a lot of weird channels on YouTube that are essentially doing things that are negative for society, but they all seem well funded. It's like, who is behind this that wants to create these schism channels? Like, do they know that just having this stuff out there just creates a ripple effect? It just adds to what the same media is trying to do. That because I mean, a channel like CT's validating mainstream news, treating it like it's real, and then like echoing on the racial tension part of the story. So, you know, do they have like a million channels like CT scattered throughout the world on social media, just helping bolster the agenda, if you will? I mean, do you think that's what's going on, or is it something else?
Well, they control the dialectic. So CT is one side of the dialectic, and then he has a target audience who he's trying to hijack, and that's Tariq Nasheed, the quote-unquote FBA movement. That's why he calls himself the king of the FBAs. And if you listen to Tariq Nasheed for years, anytime he's talking to someone, he's always saying, sir, sir, sir. Chaotic's job is to literally be the new Tariq for white people and black people that hate black people. And he's even using his mannerisms and talking points. I've seen people in the quote unquote manosphere. They're the one side of the dialectic, and then they have a target who's like the mainstream person. There was a guy named Think Before You Sleep, and he started dating this one chick who was clearly like involved with like government assets. And he used to be a MGTOW guy, and then he turned his back on the MGTOW. It's like this, the way these people go through their, you know, life events. I have no understanding or justification for it, but this guy started his entire channel was dedicated to go against this Think Before You Sleep guy. And then he started calling the titles Red Pill Cult Meeting. And it's like, man, that's kind of like entrapment. That's kind of like Fed posting. So essentially, there's always the dialectic. You'll have the YouTube chosen star. It could be Tariq Nasheed, or it could be Think Before You Sleep, or it could be whoever. And then there's a counter dweeb who's trying to wave his arms and get as much attention. Hey, look over here. And every time you go to that particular sector of YouTube, it's utter filth. Like it's the viaduct. These are the viaduct kids. You know, they're down in the dumps. And that's really what it is. It's to control the dialectic. We have these guys over here, and then the counter, we need what's the controlled opposition? That's essentially what it is. And there's multitudes and multiple players. He could be in the political landscape, then in the relationship, guys who can't find love landscape. There's those particular people who are working for a cause. And what is that cause? To disrupt, keep the populace confused. Because that's one thing I will give Brendan O'Connell with his work is he's always talking about the dialectic, right foot, left foot. He says the Trump tards raise a fist to the libtards. They shake a fist at each other, and it's nonstop. And your work, being based in abstraction, it pulls you out of that. You can't even exist in the right-left paradigm or absolute thinking, because absolute thinking is us versus them, black versus white, all or nothing. It has to be this or that. It can't be two things at the same time. Shout out to Dan Pena. He says, absence of evidence isn't evidence of absence. Just because it isn't there doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Like the second half of this code, right? Just because I didn't see how the reverse side of this code is, doesn't mean it doesn't exist, doesn't mean it isn't being deployed and used day in and day out.
Here, just speaking of which, I see this is something that's buzzing too. Supposedly, Nick Fuentes almost assassinated. Again, this is another one who was propped up by the algorithm. Little Catholic kid who blames everything on Jews. Look at the story. Supposedly on Thursday, again, Thursday's got the Gematria 35 and 46 like Catholic, but look at his birthday, 18/8, and this was 188 days after Trump's birthday, the Illuminati number, when the Illuminati traces back through the Catholics and the Jesuits. And again, this is a guy who got to visit Trump at the White House with Kanye West. Again, this is the power of this knowledge. You can just see through all this bullshit in moments. Nick Fuentes almost assassinated, and that like, why don't those things happen? If we were a decent nation, these things actually would be happening, and people wouldn't be mad about it. Like, oh, Nick Fuentes wiped from the face of the earth. That's a good thing. Yeah, just a little scumbag is Nick Fuentes, and again, just it's all control. People say, well, he got banned from things. Yeah, after he was promoted to the top of the algorithm and broadcast on the nightly news every night so everyone knows who his name is. That's why I hate listening to adults talking about, like, how could you say that the algorithm's the boy when he got banned? Just shut up, dummies. Again, they promote these names so they become household names, and then they become objects in their agenda. Another polarizing character, more evidence of the Catholic Jesuit script, and now the guy with the 18/8 birthday, supposedly almost assassinated 188 days after Trump's birthday. I mean, say no more.
Exactly. And this same caricature, little Nicky, right, goes on a 10-hour date with a cat boy, a trans cat boy from Australia named Cammy the Cat Boy.
I didn't know about all that.
10-inch black dildos over his head, and at Trump rallies in the United States has screamed to like the left who've been there to protest. He screams at the top of his lungs, I hate the N-word. So he's racist, trans cat boy, and him and Nick went on a 10-hour date. It was filmed. And then there was something recently that Nick and one of these popular YouTubers, men, you know, had a going on relationship when we're, you know, getting down and dirty. I don't even want to talk about it. Pause. It's disgusting, but they have these people in particular positions, such as Kai Cenat, I Show Speed.
I'm pretty sure that's Diddy's kid. That Kai Cenat, he looks just like him.
Hey man, that's a good one, because I would say maybe how you broke down Nate Thurman and LeBron James. I think that is the same sort of energy going on.
Yeah.
Two big influencers, and the young generations who come from, you know, people, the older generations who were, you know, influencing then, and they were close association. NYC, Nate Thurman being born in Akron, playing for the Cavs. And by the way, I don't know if I told you this, but in St. Vincent St. Mary's High School, when LeBron was he was graduated, about to go to the NBA, his season was over, but he was playing the AAU basketball. My cousin and LeBron were friends, but like LeBron wanted him to be his point guard. My cousin actually like started his own team. He's like, I'm trying to do things with, you know, the teams more local to me. And that was a big mistake for my cousin, but more or less, they were crossing in the gyms. Like, we're walking to St. Vincent St. Mary. My mom's holding this huge box of donuts, and LeBron's sitting in the front bleachers, and he has his goons maybe like 5 seats behind him, like 5 rows behind him. And he goes, as my mom's walking by, he's like, "Give me a donut." And she said, "You didn't say please," knowing who he was. And his entire crowd just like exploded, just dogging him, laughing. He had a dunce cap on his head. So I don't know if I told you that when we met, but yeah, my mom literally denied LeBron a donut in his stardom. And like, it was public. He was like, Sam Vaknin calls that narcissistic mortification. Mortified.
Yeah. Huh. All right.
But I'll keep that there, man. Like I said, this isn't about dunking on chaotic, but it's like anytime I've tried to be truthful and whatnot, that's happened. But with Nick Fuentes, this iShow Speed guy about 10 months ago was playing FIFA. And I hate to even be talking about it because it's so sick and disgusting. As he's playing FIFA, he simulates like ejaculation on camera. And little kids watch this guy's show. Like young kids, like maybe 10 to 15-year-old kids are his audience. And he was able to like do some sexual act to himself while getting the Ronaldo card on FIFA. It was like he orgasmed to a video game, man. And like things happened in the video and it stayed on the platform. And then Kai Cenat there's like a video of him taking a shower with like it's like these people are streaming really sick and twisted weird things for the youth, and they're being selected, and I think all behind closed doors, like they're like, you know, Fuentes and them. they I can't, man. That whole Cammy the Catboy thing is wild. I encourage everyone to try to find those videos. It is like Jesus.
Again, I'll point out that the most gay neighborhoods in America are also where Jesuit universities are. And you know what goes on in those Catholic church with the little boys. And Nick Fuentes is one of them. So somehow it all fits together so perfectly.
Yep. Anyone who's on the stage, anyone who's being promoted, you look up Milo, anyone who's trying to be this political influencer, most likely is sexually compromised. And that's in that one.
Real quick, just since you brought up Kai Cenat, I just want to remind people that when he supposedly caused the riot on August 4th, that was exactly 39 weeks after Diddy's birthday. And of course, New York is 39 land. And you know, Sean equals 39 like Puff Daddy. But of course, everything, all the rituals in New York are 39. So Kai Cenat, who literally looks like Diddy in the face. And again, what made him so famous? Shooting off fireworks in his house. I'm pretty sure that's how he got famous, which also seems like a little Jesuit stunt since they're all about the fireworks. But again, 39 weeks after Diddy's birthday, he has a riot in New York. You could also say, if you count the span of days, it would have been 274 days, like the Jesuit motto, "E Sus Omnem Salvator." And it was on 8-4, another big Jesuit number 84. So. But go back to what you're saying. Just since you brought up Kai Cenat, I wanted to remind people about this ritual, and it was 33 weeks after Kai Cenat's own birthday, which is the other New York number. But
Yeah, and I'm not trying to. I know it's going to take some time, but this whole sexual compromise, deviancy, control mechanism has been in the bread and butter that they've used for any sort of influencer, any sort of military personnel, anyone that they need to take orders without any question. It'll be someone who doesn't have a backbone, someone who has no uprightness, moral character. They have no principle. They are free flowing, and essentially their morals are what Bruce Lee would say, how one's mind must be. One's mind must flow like water. And that's the abstract thought process. The absolute thought process is your mind remains this cube of ice. You're stuck within these bounds. So what they do is it's like they're existentially pushed to take orders because of how compromised they are. If little Nicky really is a deviant, they use how much of a deviant he is to their advantage. And the more deviant little Nicky is, the more little Nicky has to do for them. And little Nicky's been trying to get out of being an FBI asset for years. You can see in his content, his like whole mentality. Someone has broke this down, how his like will and his mentality has just gone down the shitter. And it's like he's tired of working for them. Brendan was breaking this down, and it's just like, man, this is sick. Like I know he's a twisted individual, but deep down, he's still a little boy who needs help. If he's been, if he is that type of person, someone affected him and someone took advantage of him and someone preyed upon him. And that's, you still have to have some sympathy for him if that's how he is the way he is. And it's just a sick world, man. Sick work.
Indeed it is. Indeed it is. And he is a little sicko and definitely used by the agenda and promoted to fame. And a lot of dopes follow these people. It's sad that more people don't have discernment. Again, people should know better. If something is viral on the internet, it's not truthful. It's part of an agenda. They don't allow anything truth-oriented to go viral. It gets destroyed. It ends up like this channel. So
I could go into more, but I don't want to completely like give the game away. But there are two companies that are private intelligence that work with YouTube. They find the next upcoming star because they're able to psychologically profile them by essentially hacking their devices, knowing what they watch, what they're into, their sexuality, all the above, and then they create a profile on them. And these people, if they get enough flow, they'll make them a target, and they'll come up and blackmail them, because they're already compromised. And it's either, hey, if you want your YouTube career to kick off, you're going to work for us now.
yeah, I think blackmail is a huge part of how they pick their agents. People they can hold something over. Maybe in the case of Nick Fuentes, since he's so young when he gets promoted to the stage, it's his family, but something. So
yeah, I don't want to go off in the weeds because it's really dark and twisted, and I'd rather stay on a more positive light because as you've proven, as someone had provided today, receipts, when you can take this little molehill and turn it into a mountain. Keep everybody in the community, keep presenting receipts, because it seems as if the shitbag, as his popularity got up, it seems as if people started to question if Zach was real or not. And it's like, man, you got to keep your thinking caps on. That's what it is. It's like every single day, keep churning out the truth, man. So I appreciate your time again, but this is the last time I'm talking about Chaotic Tooth. Like I said, I've been there when you've been trying to present things. I've tried to present things, and there is just no light there. And anyone who comes here from his channel, you gotta take the shit for brains, or like Yuri Bezmenov said, Americans need to take the bananas out of their ears. Take the fucking bananas out of your ears while you're listening to Zach and people like Zach. Stop going over there. And if you have to go over there, ask yourself, why am I addicted to chaos, sadism? Because it's a really sadistic place.
People are. That's why people like to watch train wrecks, and that's why they make entertainment the way they do, full of death and killing and chaos and explosions. People's minds gravitate towards that. And for whatever reason, they don't gravitate towards truth or knowledge. And again, it's like I always make the point. You can go into a library, a used bookstore, for no money to a few dollars. You can pick up something and change your life. Almost nobody wants to do that. But then they'll go spend a fortune to go to a rig sports game or, a concert from a band they've heard already 20 times. By the way, it was just brought to my attention that something that's buzzing in the headlines is Kai Cenat just bought a mansion next to Diddy's house. Oh, what do you know? I mean, we've been saying this for years that it looks pretty obvious it's Diddy's son. And so that's also part of the thing. Just like the people who are made to be celebrities on YouTube, they're connected to other celebrities, bloodlines. This Mr. Beast character on YouTube who now has some big Amazon show upcoming. I mean, give me a break. All these, it gets annoying watching the things that supposedly everyone's plugged into. It's like, why? How's this even possible? It's frustrating. You know, once upon a time, I thought like maybe the internet was going to be the thing that could save humanity, but that's kind of a stupid thought, kind of an ignorant thought looking back, or a naive thought. Because I mean, this internet did come out of the same military agenda that's dominating the world. Um, so
Yeah, Mr. Beast was supposed to be finished once the tapes came out of the guy Chris, I believe, who was in his camp, who is like a well-known, PDF file.
I see.
But of course, the algorithm is steered. Kai Sanat, all the weird stuff that's come out with him. I guess there's video of him and iShow Speed taking a shower together. That's what the new buzz is. And it's like, oh, anytime there's a big update with Kai Sanat, there's always some humiliation ritual revealing.
Well, I mean, the hip hop industry revealed that too, right? So if he's Diddy, I mean, how many hip hop stars have come out and said that there's a lot of gay stuff going on if you want to climb the ladder? AKA Pimp C. He was like one of the first ones to really break it. And then he ends up dying on Jay-Z's birthday, has this big hit with Jay-Z, just happens to die on Jay-Z's birthday. Again, if you guys haven't, go back and listen to what Pimp C, that's his rap name, Pimp C from UGK. His, I believe Bun B might be Jesuit educated. I need to go back and double check that.
Interesting.
Bun B's the other half of UGK. He lives on. He has a show now on Sirius XM where it seems like everybody who has something on there is also connected to the network. But yeah, Pimp C was the one who really spilled the beans and spoke at length about all the gay business going on behind the doors in hip hop if you wanted to climb the ladder. And now you're saying Kai Cenat, who looks to be the son of Diddy, is there's what, something out there with him in a shower with another man?
Yeah, and the same guy who, while playing a game, ejaculates upon himself.
Yeah.
This is all psychological programming for the youth. It's absolutely sick. And for these guys, for Mr. Beast to have someone in his camp, and then these guys to be doing these things, and the algorithms, we think, man, people are going to see this. People are going to wake up, but the algorithm is so controlled into the echo chamber where the truth can't get out to the people in enough numbers. And it's been happening to your channel since, day one. It's gotten much, much worse, of course, because there's at some times where you could really get a large swell of numbers, just depending on what the topic was. I remember those days, but it's definitely changed. So the company that selects the individuals, I believe it's called Clear Force. The company that does the algorithm management so no one can hear anything pertinent is called Denology. And General Jim Jones, I believe, is who runs Denology, and this is private. They're all Roger Stone and them. They're all associated. So they've literally captured the entire internet, and they've cordoned it off, and they've made it so that the thought process goes in particular directions. They call us like Kissinger. Kissinger was the king of calling. He calls the masses. He said, I think at Bilderberg, 1993, in France, he said, essentially, we could just unleash troops and tanks upon LA, and we could like lock it down if we wanted to, but we're essentially going to incrementally boil the frog to get these people to give up their rights, to be fearful, and to be in a constant state of disorientation. And this ties back to a document, 5,000 copies. It was a parody document known as Report on Iron Mountain. And it was sent to the Pentagon, 5,000 copies. And it described how it will keep the United States in a perpetual state of war. And that mental state could be stretched to climate change, alien invasions, all the things that they've kept the retards' minds occupied with. The Report on Iron Mountain describes, and this was the early 60s, I believe. I got to get it was early 60s. I don't think it was late 50s, but early 60s, maybe 1963 when it hit the Pentagon. And it's like, wait a second, you're talking about a quote unquote parody document. Oh, it's just a joke, but it lays out exactly how our country has been subverted. The mind has been subverted. And once the mind is subverted, then the dollars through taxation get subverted. $58 million going a day to NASA. How much is going to, you know,
all these different rackets. Sweet lady's calling me in the background. I got to wrap this thing up,
Sure.
man. But I appreciate the information as always.
Definitely.
Thank you.
Appreciate you for having me on, man.
All right, yeah.
Keep pushing.
All right.
Peace
Yeah,
out.
all right. Elohim wants to hop on real quick, and then I got to get off because Sweet Lady is calling in the background. What's up, Elohim? Elohim, what do? You logged on in 3 different ways. Elohim, are you there? I don't know what he did. He logged in 3 different times, and now he's not there. Anyway, I got to hop off. I'll do some more follow-ups with the other things, but all right, he hopped back on again. Are you there? I don't know what he's doing. He's hopping on and off. All right. Yeah, we'll leave it there. Again, thank you to everyone who hits the like and the share. Thank you to everyone who supports the work. For all you guys who hopped off Patreon because we cooled down a little bit, big mistake. You missed out big time the last few days, and you should think about hopping back on. Losers hopping off the work are just that, losers. Don't be one of them. Everyone should be riding the train for life once they get on. Elohim, are you there? Elohim, you got to go quick. I got to get off. All right, he can't get it together. We're going to end this thing. Until next time, Truth Seeker.